89 on up, homie. G shit, not ye shit. And we back with the part 3, the collage in with the part 2 and 1 that we kicked, man. And just taking in the first one, taking in part 2, taking in part 3, and just tripping off the culture and tripping off of us as innocent, useful children going through things, coming over to the gangs, experiencing things, homie, outside of just putting it down, committing crimes and all that shit. We fall over with bitterness already and looking for love, looking for friends, and looking for outlets, homie. And just like I say, taking it all in still. And when we talk about the rape, the abuse, even with the shit with the young homeboy that he experienced and going to the pen experiencing some shit, just, with just having a messed up, ill mind state because of the shit that we went through. Like I said, if it didn't physically happen to you, we was visually traumatized and seeing some shit, homie. Like me personally, I can't really recall physically being harmed, but I was visually harmed, visually traumatized by seeing a close loved ones of mine be abused, homie. And it made me just, fucked up still to this day at times. I'm like, if I see this person that harmed my family, would I down their ass, homie? Do they deserve to be downed? And I didn't also experience in these times seeing dudes that, like I said, people that didn't probably cause harm to family members later on in time, and we cause harm upon them, homie. For just decades and decades old shit, man. And like I said, homie, what can we do since we jumped on this topic, big homie? What can we do to save our children, the youth, kind of from going through some of the shit we experienced, homie, as kids growing up and shit, homie, before we led into this street life and gang shit?
Well, one of the things we can do is what we're doing now by bringing awareness to what happens in our community. After we bring awareness to our community, we're going to put out there the sinkholes in our community, where we used to call it the molesters playground. Once we expose all them type of places where they play at, hopefully people start paying better attention to their kids and be mindful of these playgrounds that these predators use to score our kids of our future. Now, I would like to start off by reading a letter that I got from some women. And I got this letter and it had me emotional because it's really deep. It starts off, it says, "Dear BJ, thank you for being a voice for us women that have not been heard. You make us believe in ourselves again. As a woman that has been molested myself, you made me feel like I belong. When a woman has been molested or raped, her complete soul has been violated to the point that all innocence is lost. She lost all hope and her peace of mind. She forgets what it's like to be a little girl or a woman, or even how to have fun. And when you are raped or molested at the hands of a family member, a friend, or someone you trust, your soul is broken. At times, I was scared to go outside because you think it will happen again. When people look at you, you wonder if they was in on it, or do they know? You begin to question your sexuality because you no longer trust men. On behalf of all women and children that have been raped or molested, we thank you. Now, when I got this letter, it had me emotional because I didn't know what to really say. And on top of that, when I was in Pelican Bay, we used to run this little group, and outside people would come in and visit us and talk to us about how they could do prison reform. And one time in the group, there was these 3 girls from New York. They had broke down crying because they had been raped. And they told us that by coming up there to Pelican Bay and sitting with us and how we treated them, they felt more safer coming to visit us in prison than they do on the streets. And that kind of hurted me, that people feel safer being in prison than they do on the streets. And here it is, we fight every day to get out to them streets, but some people feel safer in here than they do to be free. Now, another reason I wanted to bring this up, because I was molested as a kid as well. And my story goes told as, when I was younger, my parents had good jobs and they used to leave us at home alone a lot. And we had a babysitter that used to come over all the time and babysit us. She was a girl. And at the time, I think I was like about 6, going on 7. And she was like already in her teens. She was like 17. Every time she used to babysit me and my little brother, her boyfriend would come over with us. And when her boyfriend would come over, you know, they would have sex in front of us, let us watch, and, you know, he'd tell us to do things to him. We'd grab on her breasts and stuff like that, you know, we thought it was cool. So one day, I caught him in the garage having sex and walked in on him. As soon as they finished, her boyfriend told her, you know, let me in on it, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I was a little kid, I was excited, and she asked me, did I want some? I told her, yeah, so she lays me on top of a sofa, started kissing on me. After she started kissing on me, she taught me how to do oral sex and anal sex on her, but not with penetration, but with me doing oral sex and anal sex with my mouth, you know, basically just licking all her body. As she was teaching me, this started going on every day. She would come over and toot it up and have me sit behind her and do what I do. So one day her boyfriend was over and she had me eating her anal, and as I'm doing it, she forks in my face. When she forks in my face, I backed away and was like, you know, like shocked. And then she tried to, like, you know, defecate on me. She tried to, like, get it on me, but it ended up getting on my chest. I was embarrassed because the dude was laughing at me and she was laughing, and it tore me up inside to the point of, when I grew up, I hated women. And when I first started dating women, I started dogging them, just having sex with them and trying to get them to perform oral sex on me, and then I leave them. And I didn't know what was wrong with me until I got to YA. When I got to YA, they had required us taking these classes. And when I took up victim awareness, and they started talking about what's a victim and all that, I realized that I was a victim. And that's when I realized that I was taken advantage of and was molested. You know, regardless if I was a willing participant, it still was wrong because I was under the age and she knew better. I didn't.
Right.
And from that point on, I started protecting myself. But years later, I discovered that in our communities, this is a normal thing. And what hurts me the most is, I was doing a calculation the other day. It's over 26 million women in the United States alone. And every 5 minutes, 1 in 6 women is being raped. That means as we speaking right now, somebody's about to jump out the tree and do something to a woman, or a little kid for that matter. Now, if you times 26 million women, and you take 1 out of every 6, then you add up the murder rate. The murder rate is at 13,500 right now. That's 13,500 people have been killed since January. If you take how many people have been molested and raped, domestic violence or whatever the case was, sexual assault, compared to how many people was killed, and that ain't even gang violence. That's overall gun violence people.
Yeah.
Gun violence, stabbings, poisons, all that stuff.
Right.
It don't add up. It don't add up. And it hurts me because I'm looking at it like, where did I go wrong in my community to the point of I could come over your house right now and have a gun in my pocket for my protection, and we stand outside and smoke a blunt. Somebody calls the police on us. But the reason I'm hurt is because people have been calling the police on me all my life. And I never hurt nobody in my community. What I mean by my community, I mean the neighborhood that I was raised in.
Exactly.
I never stole from the people around there and nothing. You know what I mean? I might have been a little bad dude, my name was and stuff, but I had respect for my community to where I knew not to snatch persons over there, all that stuff, because I knew I could be taking something from my own people.
Right.
So, not to change the subject, but if the same community had a dude, several dudes, not just one, I'm going to say several, dudes that been around there before I was born, that was known child molesters. And everybody in the neighborhood knew it. Nobody did nothing to them. Nobody called the police on them. Nobody socked them in the jaw, nothing.
Right.
You know, and these dudes is killers in our community, and some of them still stay in our community today.
Right.
Three-way call alert.
Right. Hey, big homie, not to cut you off, because I know the time might go into it, but I just want to piggyback from what you saying about the neighbors are called it, police on us for hanging out, might see a strap, but not knowing these straps you might see not only in our youthful age and our time where they for protection in case somebody else came through. These pistols was also protections to protect the community from predators, homie, kidnappers, rapists, and all that type shit, homie. You know what I'm saying? And before the time closed too, I just want to, since you shared the story, that letter came through, I just want to share a quick story, homie, since all this shit affected me too, and affected all of us that come up in this struggle. Like I say, I can't really recall
your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Personally being traumatized physically, but visually, I was traumatized. Visually, I was abused because I had to, like you said, visualize some shit that I didn't want to see at a youthful age, homie. And the visual part of
60 seconds remaining.
The visual part of a traumatization or something, it make you always feel like you want to down a motherfucker for some shit that you see the next person do or you hear because your eyes seen something. You know, when you see a defect in your loved ones because of some shit that happened that you couldn't save them, it take you back to you want to down somebody that physically hurt your peoples, dog. And just to close it, and we'll catch back up on this shit, 89 on up, homie, G shit, not ye shit, and me and the homeboy just sending it on a touchy topic, homie. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to everybody that went through it, homie. And shout out to everybody that didn't recover it, homie. And let's be there for our kids, save our family members' kids. Let's save each other from from this shit, man, from this life we live through, man. You know, none of us is perfect, homie. You know, none of us was perfect coming up through this, man. And some of our parents and family members, they did the best they can do at times, man. They wasn't able to monetize everything, but they tried to catch everything, man. We can't just really superly blame them, man. It was our times was wild, but them late 70s and 80s was even wild, homie. And I want to thank the homeboy, homie, and I want to thank that letter that came through, homie. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully that touched all of us and touch the community and wake our minds up, homie. You know what I'm saying? To be better people out here, man. And we just gonna keep sending it, homie, on this gangster shit and on reality. I'm out.